With over 40 years experience changing oil on various types of vehicles, I'm going to share with you the do's and don'ts that I've learned. If you did nothing else in maintaining your car, regular oil changes are the key to the longevity of your engine. I sold my 1997 Honda Accord with 285,000 miles on it. I changed the oil every 3,000 miles, and I truly believe it would have gone another 100,000 miles easy. Now I'm going to show you the simple steps it takes to change oil on your car. The tools we're going to need for this project are a filter wrench. We're going to use the one on the far left for this car. Oil filter with crush washer, I'll explain that later. A rag, a wrench to remove the drain plug, the oil drain pan, funnel, appropriate oil for the car, and ramps. Let's get started. Set the ramps in front of the front tires in preparation to pull the car up on them. I have 2x4s underneath the front tires. If I hadn't done that, the front bumper could be damaged by the ramps. If you have a low-profile car, be sure to watch out for that. When pulling up on the ramps, I put my right foot on the accelerator and my left foot on the brake. I've found that doing this gives me greater control over the car and prevents the possibility of driving over the ramps and possibly causing damage. Set the emergency brake, block behind the rear wheels, and make sure the front tires are securely centered on the ramps. Prop open the hood, and on the top of the engine you'll find the dipstick for checking oil level and also the fill cap, which will tell you what weight oil your engine requires. In our case, it's 0 W20. You will also find that information in your owner's manual. I like to loosen the fill cap when draining the oil. Now it's time to grab our wrench and the oil pan and head under the car. Many modern cars put plastic panels on the underside of the engine. If that's the case on your car, you will find a small access panel that you can remove to access the drain plug. Here is a filter location and drain plug on a Ford pickup truck. And this is the oil pan and drain plug location on an older Toyota Camry. Be careful not to confuse the oil pan with the transmission pan. Now back to our oil change. Remove the access panel and we discover that both the drain plug and oil filter are in this location. Loosen the drain plug and slide the oil catch basin underneath the oil pan. Then by hand I remove the drain plug and let the oil drain out. It's a good idea to wear rubber gloves when you're doing this work to prevent your skin from being contaminated by the oil. With the oil draining, I wanted to show you what I do with the drain plug. There should be a washer on the drain plug. If there is, oftentimes you can reuse it. I used to work at a gas station and we would always put a bead of gasket sealer where the washer meets the threads to ensure no leaks. You can do that or install a new washer. These washers are made of a very soft metal that will conform with the drain plug to form a tight seal. When I change oil, I often just take the drain plug out and reinstall it and rarely have problems. But in this case, since the filter came with a new washer, we'll go ahead and install it. Alright, now we'll screw the drain plug back in a couple turns, and I like to wipe off any drips on the pan and then finish hand tightening and then tighten it up with a wrench. The specs call for the drain plug to be 20 to 25 foot-pounds, so it doesn't need to be real tight or you might strip the threads. Now we'll go ahead and remove the filter. We're going to use the pliers filter wrench because the others won't fit in this area. Get a good grip on the filter, turn it counterclockwise, maybe half a turn, and then you can do the rest by hand. Before you remove the filter all the way, make sure that you have your oil pan underneath so all the oil that drips out will go into the pan. Now remove the filter the rest of the way. Wipe off the engine block where the filter mounts. Make sure it's all clean. And I have a very important tip to share with you at this point. You want to make sure that the rubber gasket that comes mounted on the filter is not sticking to the block of the engine. If it is, you need to remove it because it can cause engine damage if you install the new filter with two gaskets. Now that we're all clean, we can install the new filter. You will want to dip your finger in either the oil you drained out, if it's clean, or in the new oil you're going to put in, and put a bead of oil on the gasket. Doing this ensures a good seal, and this will also make it easier to remove the filter next time you change your oil. Now we install the new filter, and you want to put it on hand tight, basically as tight as you can get it, but you do not need to use a filter wrench for this. The instructions that come with the filter basically say screw it on until you feel the rubber gasket hit the block of the engine, and then turn it 3/4 of a turn. It's basically tightening it as much as you can by hand. Then we'll reinstall the access panel, and we can move back up top to fill the engine with new oil. Now, before filling your engine with fresh oil, you want to look at your owner's manual. In it, you will see it shows you what type of oil your engine requires and how much to put in. We are changing the oil with filter, and so the manual shows we need 4.4 quarts of 0W20 synthetic oil. Your owner's manual will also tell you the frequency of oil changes. This car calls for oil changes every 7,500 miles, but we do it every 5,000 miles along with rotating the tires. I know this video isn't about rotating tires, but just a side note, I have a Toyota Camry that I rotate tires every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, and my last set of tires lasted me 94,000 miles. Most oils can be purchased in 1 quart or 5 quart containers. This is a 5-quart container, so it will have all the oil we need to do this change with filter. On the side of the container is a clear bar that allows you to see how much oil you've put in. We need to put in 4.4 quarts, and so we will empty it to this point here. Now it's time to start filling the engine with oil. Remove the cap, and I like to wipe off the funnel to make sure there's no dust or debris that can get in the crankcase. Now we'll pour in our 4.5 quarts of 0W20 synthetic oil. As you can see, I've got a little drip when pouring the oil in. It's good to put a rag under there, and also if you turn the bottle to the side, it seems to help prevent that. While pouring, you want to check that clear sidebar and make sure that you don't overfill. And there we are, 4.5 quarts. Perfect. Then I like to wipe things down, keep it clean so nothing falls in the crankcase. Put the cap back on, and we're just about done. Before I start the car to pull it off the ramps, I like to check the oil. I'm not going to get an accurate reading because I'm sitting up on the ramps, but I want to at least see a little oil on the dipstick. And there it is, so we're good to start the engine and pull the car off the ramps. Remember to remove your block, and we can hop in the car and back it off the ramps. Now, just like I showed you, I like to put 1 foot on the brake and 1 on the accelerator even when backing off. It gives me better control of my speed so I can safely pull off the ramps. Once I'm off the ramps, I want to pull the car over to a level area and get an accurate check of the oil level. When you pull your dipstick out, there will be 2 marks. The upper mark is the full mark, and the lower mark means you need to add a quart. Typically, it's okay to be a little over the full mark, but overfilling your crankcase creates extra pressure in the block of your engine and can damage it. So be careful. When checking the oil level on your car, you want to pull the dipstick out and wipe it off, then reinstall it and check it. If you just pull it out and look at it, you will not get an accurate reading. And we're right below the full mark. Perfect. I like to make sure it stays nice and dry under my car for the next day or so to make sure I don't have any oil leaks. All I have left is putting my tools away and discarding the used oil. I saved my old oil containers for the used oil. You can either take the used oil to your local auto parts store or to a local recycling center, and it won't cost you anything to recycle your oil. Thanks for watching. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And we look forward to helping you with other projects online.